Right guys, welcome back. It's me, Christian. Got a very good topic today. Knowing when it's time to walk away from a relationship. Got a very good email from a subscriber to explain this topic. We're going to keep his name private, so let's just call him Jimmy. He writes in and he says, I wanted to get your perspective on my situation. I'm wondering if I should even be pursuing this person anymore. My long distance girlfriend of 3 years cut ties with me 2 months ago on Valentine's Day of all days. A few months prior to this, she had broken up with me, yet we remained in a friends with benefits situation, which I now know was a mistake. She went on dates with other people, but always maintained that nothing ever happened. Sure. So I tolerated it. I had noticed her growing increasingly distant leading up to Valentine's Day. She always made me feel guilty for asking to spend time with her. She said that she was always busy and didn't have any time for me, yet she was always going out with friends. Before we carry on with his email, I want to break down this first paragraph. So he's basically been with this girl for 3 years, and she completely cut ties with him back in February 2021, this year. I'm saying that for anybody who's going to be watching this in the future. And a few months earlier, she dumps him. Then she walks back into his life and says, here's an opportunity for you to be in backup position. And what does he do? Yes, Your Highness, I will gladly be in backup mode. Break glass in case of emergency. That communicates to me that he was weak. She knows it too. When a woman dumps you, she has fallen out of love. She has lost emotional attraction for you. She doesn't feel the same way. You can't manipulate her into getting back together with you. You just have to let her go. And if there's any attraction left, there are some rare cases where she comes back. And just like she came back in this case, as I say all the time, when she comes back, it's not because she's realized she's made a mistake. Those chances are very rare. Generally speaking, when an ex comes back into your life, it's because the grass wasn't greener and she wants to try if she can keep you in backup position while she still looks for other options. Because she's coming back into his life and she's not saying, hey Jimmy, I'm so sorry, please take me back, let's be a couple again. She's not saying that, she's saying, here's friends with benefits. A man with self-respect and a high self-esteem, he's not going to accept terms and conditions that are not what he wants. He wanted to get back together with her. If he was strong enough and valued his principles more than his emotions, he would have looked at her in the eyes or on the phone or however she contacted him and said, listen, I'm not interested in being friends with benefits. I want to get back together. So give me a call if you change your mind. And he would have walked away, because that's all you can do in that situation. But instead, he basically bends himself over, compromises on what he wants, and says, okay, we can be friends with benefits, because he thinks that by doing that, he can eventually work his way back up. A self-respecting man doesn't do that, and she knows that too. So now in her eyes, she's lost even more respect and attraction for him, because he's not even strong enough to stand up for what he wants. Why? Because he's afraid that if he tells her, I don't want to be friends with benefits, give me a call if you change your mind, that she's going to lose interest. See, he's more concerned with what she thinks of him than what he thinks of himself. If you don't respect yourself in the first place, how can she respect you? And if she doesn't respect you, she doesn't love you. Obviously, this girl dumped him, and then she's seeking friends with benefits, so we know she didn't respect him. But yet he stayed. He stayed because he was too afraid to lose her. He was holding on to the hope of that friends with benefits, thinking that he could make that into a relationship again. Big mistake. And then she's off dating other guys. And oh, nothing's happening with these men though, she tells him. Then why are you going out on dates meeting other guys? She's looking at other options. But he is a break glass in case of emergency. Guys, you don't want to be this type of man, because all this is going to do is screw you up emotionally. Okay, and it will take you some time to heal. I'm telling you. And then she's making him feel guilty when he wants to spend time with her. And that's another thing, guys. If a girl dumps you and she comes back into your life, you have to make her make it right to you. You've got to make that woman submit. You have to make her see that there's consequences for her behavior. She can't just walk in and out of your life. You tell her, look, if you want to spend time with me, she should be making it up to you. But instead, she walks in, she knows she's got all the power, so she's just off dating other guys, spending time with her friends, and saying that she's got no time for him. So she's basically just secured him, right? He's on the bench, and he's not allowed to play. You do not want to make the mistake that Jamie did. Let's carry on. Finally, on Valentine's Day, she texts me out of nowhere saying, I can't do this. I like someone else. I don't want to talk about it. Which is a true statement. You know, she was honest enough to tell you, I want to be friends with benefits. You said yes. So you're not in a relationship. It's not cheating. She was genuinely out dating other guys and she told you that. And now she's telling you, I can't do this. I like someone else. At least she's being honest. He said she ignored me for the rest of the day as I proceeded to go crazy and blow up her phone. More weakness, more insecurity, more I can't live without you, please your majesty, give me a chance. Turning her off. I managed to talk to her for a few minutes the next day, and she told me that she didn't love me anymore. So now she's being straightforward with you. So it's interesting to see, and I've mentioned this before, women in their communication, it is passive, it is covert, it dances around the subject. It's up to you to figure out her intention. And because in this case, she wants to avoid conflict. Women will always try to avoid, pissing you off, for you to become aggressive and hurt her, because they want to avoid that conflict. So they're going to use passive communication, and hopefully you just figure it out. So she basically told him, I like someone else. So she's kind of direct, but yet she's saying, I don't want to talk about it. She's dancing around the subject. She's being passive. She's not giving him all the information, but just enough for him to get the hint that, dude, I'm not into you anymore. Please leave me alone. And instead of him seeing that, what does he do? He goes crazy. He starts blowing up her phone. Now she's lost even more respect for him. So now what she's doing is, now she's being straightforward. Now she's pulling out the sniper and she's killing him with one shot. Right? She's basically telling him, dude, now she says, I don't love you anymore. Now she doesn't care to hurt his feelings, because being passive and covert wasn't working. He acted crazy. So now she's like, fine, I'm going to be direct like a man and tell you I don't love you. Get the hint. Leave me alone. We are done. Right? She told me that she didn't love me anymore and that I don't matter to her, and that she's already spending time with this guy and that he made her really happy. Yeah, because now you're blowing up her phone. It's unnecessary. It's needy. So she's like, fine, I have to cut him off from the neck, right? She's going in on you, going right to the point. Because you didn't get it the first time she was being passive, now you're forcing her to be straightforward. That's the way us men communicate, overt, direct, right to the point. This is what happens, guys, when you chase and you pursue someone that doesn't want you, that doesn't feel the same way. You just dig in a hole for yourself. Over the next few weeks, I made every mistake in the book. One thing I like about Jimmy is that he is honest about his errors. And it is so important that he's able to admit that he's made mistakes. Because in doing so, now he can actually take the steps to correct them and grow into a much stronger man. A lot of guys, when they screw up, they don't want to admit that they're in the wrong. And if you don't have that self-awareness, you can't improve. So, let's give Jimmy that gold star and say, you know what? At least you can admit that you made mistakes. Okay? Sometimes we all need tough love. He said, I blew up her phone repeatedly. I sent her flowers. I sent her letters. When that didn't work, I insulted her. I texted her all the time. So much so that she ended up blocking me. What do you see on Disney movies in Hollywood all the time? She dumps the guy. He starts masterminding this huge romantic event and all of these loving gestures to try and reel her back in. Blowing up her phone, flowers, textbook, sending her letters. When that's not working, now he's getting emotional. Now he's getting aggressive. Then he starts insulting her. So what does she do? Blocked. She blocked me on every platform and even had one of her guy friends call me to tell me off. Well, this girl had guy friends. She didn't even respect you. Now we know this is another reason, more evidence that proves that you were just low on the list of respect in her eyes. A woman that loves you and respects you isn't going to keep other men in her life. As we all know, there ain't no such thing as guy friends. But she's got a guy friend who's obviously a beta male, and like the good servant he is, he goes up to you and calls you to tell you off. Guys, when a woman's has a guy friend to call you and tell you off, I mean, she would respect a rock more than she respects you. Like, that has more value to her than you. She doesn't respect you. She doesn't love you. She's disgusted with you. Okay? And this is what happens. Can you imagine a girl's coming up to you? You act crazy. She cuts you off. She blocks you. And then she has her guy servant reach out to you to tell you off like you're a little kid. Come on, man. That behavior's got to go. But at least you're honest enough to admit that you made these mistakes. You got to develop in self-control. That cannot be repeated. He said, I didn't hear from her for a few weeks. And in a moment of weakness, I decided to enact a form of revenge. And completely ruined her family dynamic by exposing all her lies to them. That's bad, man. That conversation with her ended with me saying that I never wanted to talk to her again. Well, one moment you're blowing up her phone, sending her flowers and letters because you love her. Then you're insulting her. And then you're enacting revenge, ruining her family and exposing all of her personal stuff to her parents. Yeah, this woman ain't going to be reaching out to you again. You need to take some time to develop emotional mastery. You need to take complete control of your emotional center. You need to learn your emotional triggers. What are the things that bother you in your life? What angers you? You need to control your aggression. You need to stop jerking off. You need to stop wasting your energy. And you need to develop discipline. You must develop self-control. It is a virtue every man must have. Because behaving like this is just going to scare the next woman away. Let me put it to you this way. I'm a young guy. I don't have a daughter. I'm not married. But one day, if I have children and I have a daughter and her ex-boyfriend comes into my house and he starts threatening my daughter and enacting revenge upon her, he's going to go missing if he steps foot in my house, if you know what I mean. Because I'm a proper cap in his head. Any father would protect their daughter. So imagine that's your daughter and some guy's doing that to her. That woman is going to be scared for her own safety, because there are guys out there that go out and they beat women. When they get dumped, they act crazy, they show up at work, they stalk, they even kill the girls sometimes. So a woman is going to be fearful because she can't protect herself, because she's physically weaker than the average guy. So imagine that's your daughter and some guy's doing that to her. Hopefully that puts things in perspective for you and for all of you guys watching. This is why women test men. They need to know if you're safe to be around. Because there are psychos out there that do stuff like this, and it's going to scare her away. Come on, guys. Look, I have a daughter, some guy does that to me. He steps foot in my house. He's gone missing. You won't find him anymore. I can promise you that. Okay? That is something you don't do. But you're honest, again, you're honest about your mistakes, so you can take the time to work on yourself. Because losing your emotions, acting out, lashing out, becoming aggressive, you're not in control. Okay? A man that is strong, a man that is confident, he has discipline. He's in control of his emotions. He's not going to let himself get to that point. That's not loving. That is something, you don't do that to somebody that you love. Okay? That behavior has to change, because the next girl that comes into your life and she doesn't text you back, or things aren't going too well, and you have a freak out like that, and you say to her, I'm going to ruin your life and I'm going to come after your family, I'm telling you right there and then, that woman is going to want nothing to do with you anymore. Because you'll scare, she won't be able to trust you anymore. She'll be scared of you. Okay? And you'll lose her. He said, currently I've got no contact and I've decided to work on myself. Good. And that is where things stand. But I can't shake this feeling that she's going to reach out eventually. Oh, she's not going to reach out. Unless she's telling you, hey, contact me again and you're going to get a restraining order. She ain't going to be reaching out, bro. It ain't happening, mate. I can't shake this feeling that she's going to reach out eventually. So I'm unsure of how I should handle that, or if I should just block her on every platform and move on with my life. Yes. If you think that's going to stop you from acting crazy again, by all means, block her, move on with your life. You want to be cutting out alcohol, smoking if you do. You want to be cutting out pornography. You need to stop jerking off. You need to start balancing your hormones. You need to set some goals, self-development. You need to get closer to God, work out, take some time to heal, and develop emotional strength. Because I can see you're not a bad person, but you just got emotional. You got aggressive. You got angry. And if you have some issues that you need to work through, by all means, work through them. Because you don't want to have another repeat of this emotional outburst where you're going psycho. Because you'll scare a woman away. Okay? If any woman is watching this, she will tell you in the comment section that, hey, you behave like that, she's going to run. She'll run. So that's basically his email. So guys, you have to recognize when it's time to walk away. If somebody dumps you and then they come back into your life and they settle for you out of pity and they're dating other people, you've got to have the strength to walk away. Because look, sometimes you meet a woman and it's right place, right time. In this case, they're long distance, and if she was really crazy about him and she dumped him and she felt like she made a mistake, she wouldn't have gone off with other guys. She would have texted him back, begged him back, please, please forgive me, Jimmy, I'll do anything to make it up to you. And she'd be making time for him. But instead, he flips the power dynamic. She flipped the power dynamic, and she knew, I don't respect this guy anymore, but it's better than nothing. And he's acting more like the woman than she is. Women are meant to be relationship oriented. That is feminine. Okay, women, their nurturing and caring energy comes out when they're focused on the relationship, on building the connection. Women love that. Okay, hey, men, we love that too. However, what goes beyond that for a man is his purpose in life, setting goals, which is why men are goal oriented. Okay, that's what men do. That is masculine. You must have a life outside of a purpose. Okay, your career, your business, something that you love, that you're good at, that you're passionate about. And when you have a life where you are productive and you are occupied with your time, that gives her the time and space away from you to miss you, to wonder about you. Because women, being emotional beings, they get to think about you. Okay, this builds more emotional and sexual tension. They get to wonder what you're up to, when you're going to call her, when you're going to text her again, when she's going to see you again. This plays on her imagination. What do you think women read all the romance novels? That's what they want. They like to build a fantasy in their head. And you can't give her that if you're constantly texting, blowing up her phone, chasing her. You're too available. You're too easy. I'm not saying to guys, and you don't want to fake it. You genuinely want to have a real life outside of her. Hobbies, friends, career, business, side hustle, whatever. Let her see that you're a man on a mission, and she'll respect you more because she's like, wow, I'm with a guy who has an actual life. And then she wants to be a part of your life because you're amazing and you're confident and you're strong. That's when she can miss you, because she should be the one that's focused on you. When are you going to text her? When are you going to call her? When am I going to hear from him again? That is the woman's place. That's when she can be open and vulnerable and feminine. And you're masculine. You can't lose that center in a relationship. You have to be the man. And so many guys lose themselves in the relationship. So when you see that a woman, she's just not into you, you may have the right place, right time, but you're not really her type, and you can just see that she's distanced herself, leave before she dumps you. Have the strength to walk away. Because, I did ask him when he messaged me, I asked him to tell me what was the reason for the breakup. And he said to me, I'll read it now. He said, to answer your question about what led to the first breakup, I think it was mainly a combination of the distance and the fact that we hadn't seen each other in months due to the pandemic. It was really weird because we were officially broken up, but we still acted as if we were together. Wrong. You were acting like you were still together. You see, this is what guys do. They project their own interest level on the woman. Look at her behavior. Look at what she's doing consistently, repeatedly, continuously. That doesn't make any sense. Oh, we broke up because of the distance. Bro, you're already in long distance. Come on, man. You're already in long distance. So I think it's a combination of distance, and we hadn't seen each other due to pandemic. There's people that haven't seen their parents or their brothers and sisters during the pandemic. What, does that mean you stop loving your family because you ain't seen them in a while? Come on, man. That doesn't mean anything. In fact, distance makes the heart grow fonder. Distance is going to make her miss you and want you more if she's emotionally invested in you. You just weren't compatible. You weren't really the guy for her. You were better than nothing. And she dumped you because remember, women fall in love slowly over time and fall out of love slowly over time. Therefore, as time went on in the relationship, she started to lose emotional attraction, and then she dumped you point she didn't have those feelings anymore. That doesn't mean that there was no evidence of her cheating or lining up replacements. She dumped you. She didn't wake up one day and go, oh, I'm going to dump Jimmy today. No. It's a slow process of her just falling out of love until she eventually leaves. And it's basically what she did. And then she came back and you guys had an open relationship. That was not a relationship. You did not have a commitment when she came back. Okay? He said we still went on dates and there was no her leaving and then coming back to me. That's why I was caught off guard. Well, she walked away and then she came back. It's nothing to do with distance or pandemic. That's not going to make a woman stop loving you. It's to do with the fact that she lost emotional attraction, and I can see why from your behavior. You were more into her than she was into you, and you guys, I have my comb here for some weird reason, holding it in my hand, and you guys need to stop projecting your high interest level on a woman. You need to be looking at her behavior. Does she feel the same way about you? Because if not, you'll be stuck in one of these situations where you're chasing, you're pursuing. It's your interest level. And this is what Jimmy's saying. Right? He said, it was really weird because we were still acting as if we were together. No, you were still acting as if you were together. She came back into your life and said, it's friends with benefits. And you were like, okay, because you were just happy to have her. In your mind, you thought that that meant you had a relationship when it wasn't so. He said, as far as her family dynamics go, this is interesting, because I did ask, tell me about her family, as I always do. He said, as far as her family dynamics goes, she always lied to them about the nature of our relationship. I don't think they even knew we were dating at any point. She also lied to her friends about her involvement with me. They didn't know that she continued her contact with me after we had broken up. It was all just very weird and toxic, probably. This is a situation I should have removed myself from a long time ago. There you go. Honestly, I'm fully aware of all the mistakes I made in this one. Hopefully it will go better next time. So, even her family and her friends didn't even know about them. If a woman's in love with you, she's going to be dying to show you off to her family, to her friends. She's going to want to tell everyone because she's proud of you. This is my man. She's going to be showing pictures and talking about you. Why? Because you're the biggest thing in her life. That tells you she wasn't too serious about you. You were more into her than she was into you. The breakup didn't happen because of a pandemic or because of distance. It was because it ran its course. There was no more juice to extract. She felt you guys weren't compatible. She slowly fell out of love. That's all that happened here, Jimmy. And it's important to recognize that. And obviously you made your mistakes and you pushed her away even more. He said, I probably should have added that she did visit me in January for her birthday. I took her out to dinner, everything seemed normal. You were still in backup. You were just friends with benefits at that point. She was honest about that. Everything seemed normal. It felt like a normal relationship. It felt like it, but it wasn't. It was open. That's reality. And later she tells me that she only visited me to confirm her feelings about the other person. I just felt used and strung along until she locked up something with someone else. I don't know how you fall in love with someone else in a month after a 3-year dynamic, but it just felt like betrayal at the ultimate level. This girl didn't really betray you. What's really going on here was she stayed with you until she didn't have feelings anymore. And then she dumped your ass in December, or a few months back before February, which means the day she dumped you didn't mean that she fell out of love with you that day. She'd been falling out of love 6 months or a year before, until she was eventually strong enough to leave you. Because again, she wants to make sure, should I leave, should I stay? And she felt like, I want to leave. There was no feelings left for her. So then she walked away, she met some other guy, because again, she was ready to date because she'd spent those months basically recovering. She didn't line up a guy behind your back. She didn't cheat on you. There's no evidence for that, at least what we know. So we can't call it monkey branching. She basically stayed with you. Her feelings weren't met. Her feelings, weren't there anymore. She walked away. She dumped you. And then you guys ended up talking again, and she was honest. Friends with benefits, I want to date other guys. It basically means her feelings had died for you long ago, and then she was ready to date. But because you were blindsided, because you were focused on your interest level, you didn't see her behaviour. You didn't see it coming. That's why for you it's such a shock. Okay? But in regards to that, you know to work on yourself and not repeat the same mistakes. And with that said, you take the time to heal, you focus on becoming a great man, you develop principles, boundaries and standards for yourself, and next time around when you're dating a woman, you need to observe her behaviour. You must discern if she's a good match for you. You don't want to be that guy that's, in a situation and you find out that the girl's settled for you, right? She stayed with you because it's better than being alone until she's strong enough to dump you. And then there's you building an attachment and there's her walking away, but you don't see it coming because you were focused on how perfect it is. You need to get a life. You must have a life outside of the woman, right? You must value yourself enough to understand that you deserve someone that feels the same way about you. And the cornerstone of dating, the biggest principle of dating is choose someone that chooses you. Keep someone that wants to keep you. Date someone that wants to date you too, that is willing, ready and able. Don't go for somebody that is distancing themselves. You want a relationship and then she wants, to put you in backup zone. No. Next time around you're dating a girl, maybe you're dating for 2-3 months and she tells you, hey, I want to be in a relationship. Maybe you're not ready. And then you tell her, I'm not ready to be in a relationship. Don't go along with it and lead her along. Be honest and say, I'm not ready yet. Maybe in a month. And in a month she'll ask you again. Then it's up to you. Or perhaps you're in a situation where you're with a girl, she dumps you, tries to get back into your life, and you want a relationship, if that's what you want, even though I don't recommend it, and she says, let's be friends with benefits, you tell her, no, I'm not interested. Stand up for yourself. Okay, guys, it's so important to do that. Don't compromise, because you're just going to be miserable, and you'll be very upset with yourself, because really, it's your decision. And all of this could have been avoided if Jimmy had just walked away earlier when he saw that things weren't going too well. And you guys need to stop thinking with your emotions. Okay? Cut yourself off and use your logic, use your reasoning. Okay? It's all very well and good. Oh, I feel good. I feel in love. Oh, I like this girl. What is she doing? Does she feel the same way? Because if not, you're living a lie, bro. You don't want to be like Jimmy. Oh, I felt amazing. Everything felt like nothing had changed. Yeah, it felt. But looking at reality, that's not what it was. It was an open relationship. And you had a part to play in that because you said, yes, we can be together. You didn't stand up for yourself and say, give me a call if you change your mind. You stayed. Therefore, hey, she was dating other guys. She told you. She was honest. Okay, don't stay and don't accept terms that are not what you want. That is not what a man does. That's the topic for today, guys. That's the email. If you're in the same situation, something similar is happening to you, you already know what to do. With that said, give it a like, subscribe, comment down below if you haven't. Anything you want to say, any other video suggestions you have. I do have a list of many different topics from other subscribers. And if you want personal coaching, one-on-one, or to share your story or ask me any questions privately, the email is in the description, and you can also find it on the About tab YouTube channel. I'll see you guys in the next one.